Spoilers ahead, people. Spoilers ahead. If you have not seen Avengers Infinity War, then stop watching this video, go out to the cinema, come back, then we can get started. Ready? Here we go. One last warning that there are major spoilers ahead for Marvel's Avengers Infinity War. If you'd like to watch my spoiler-free review, then go to the iCard in the top corner and you'll find the link there. Until then, let's get started. If you've watched my spoiler-free review, you'd know that I gave this film a 9 out of 10. I absolutely loved it. My main problem with it is that it's not very accessible for newcomers. But realistically, if you want to go and see Avengers Infinity War, it's highly unlikely that you've not seen a single one of the 18 previous movies. If you'd only watched 1 or 2 of the movies, Infinity War can still work. This is a sequel to the Iron Man films, it's a sequel to the Guardians films, it's a sequel to Doctor Strange. It's not that it's totally inaccessible to newcomers, it's just if you've been following it from the beginning, the payoff is so much more rewarding. When I did a reaction video to the first trailer for Infinity War, I predicted that Heimdall was the Soul Stone and was going to die early on in the film. Well, I was 50% right. He does die early on, but he has nothing to do with the Soul Stone. However, everyone else on the internet predicted that Wakanda was the home of the Soul Stone, and that's what gave the heart-shaped flower their powers. Everyone else was wrong too. Now back to the beginning. At the start, Thor gets his ass handed to him. Then Loki sends in the Hulk. But then the Hulk gets his ass handed to him. So then Heimdall sends Hulk back to Earth and then gets killed for his troubles. Then Loki gets brutally choked to death, and the entire Asgardian ship is destroyed. Yes, there is no doubt that Thanos means business. He beat the Hulk. The Hulk is scared, probably a bit ashamed, and for the rest of the film, Banner can't unleash the Hulk at all, which is inconvenient for Bruce, and he embarrassed Tony in front of the wizards. And it's from that starting point that you see how threatening Thanos is. You realise that any time he's on screen with some of your favourite heroes, he could kill them in a moment, which makes each scene that he's in incredibly intense. You do start to wonder why he doesn't just kill everyone when they confront him. When he turns Drax into blocks and Mantis into ribbons, I kind of thought that was it for them. But then he leaves and disappears and they return to normal, which kind of makes his motives all that more terrifying. He doesn't want to kill them for the sake of killing, he's going to let the glove decide their fate. Big purple prick. Gamora. That was unexpected. We all thought Nebula was going to be the one to die, but they really fleshed Gamora out in this movie. You got some backstory, you see her homeworld. You actually got to see what happens when a Chitauri invasion is successful. That could have been Earth. But seriously, it was gut-wrenching to see Thanos kill his favourite daughter, Gamora. And also during the scene in which they tie up the Red Skull thread. He's now tasked with guiding Seekers of the Soul Stone. He must have been there about 75, 80 years since the first Captain America. He must be so lonely. When he touched the Tesseract, it judged him as unworthy to wield the power of the stones. So it banished him to Volmir to be the keeper of the Soul Stone, to be the keeper of a power he can never have himself. But could someone have told him how to pronounce Thanos? Seriously, everyone in this film calls him Thanos, but when Red Skull appears, it's Thanos. I mean, come on. How did that slip past the edit? Now, I didn't realise I wanted it, but Thor meeting Rocket Raccoon is one of my favourite things ever. It was something I needed to see, apparently. I loved the way he called him a rabbit, I loved the way he thought he was a captain. Their back and forth was just wonderful. Rocket gives Thor a new eye, and if he gets his way, he's going to get Bucky's arm as well. Love that moment. Captain America's back, and he does have his old suit, it's just that he's coloured the star in with a black Sharpie. I will say I was a bit disappointed with how little Captain America is in this film, but when his intro comes, it's one of the best intros in movie history. It's a shame Captain America only has about 3 or 4 lines in this movie, but at least one of those lines is a response to I Am Groot with I Am Steve Rogers. Brilliant. Another prediction I almost got right was the fact that as Wanda's powers have come from an Infinity Stone, she has an upper hand the other heroes don't. She has the ability to destroy the stones. What I didn't predict was that Vision was going to beg Wanda to kill him in order for Thanos to lose. And when she does it, it's heartbreaking. She's begging not to do it, and when he says, I know, it's not fair, but it has to be you. And it's made all the more sad when Thanos uses the Time Stone to bring him back to life, only to kill him a second time. That, on top of being stabbed by a spear, also twice. Yeah, Vision has a bit of a bad run of luck in this movie. But I can't believe Cap and Tony both survived this film. But there were some hairy moments. I went to a midnight screening at Wimbledon on the opening night, and there were audible gasps when Thanos stabs Tony. Everyone went silent thinking, this is it. This is when Tony dies. But no, Doctor Strange gives up the Time Stone in exchange for Tony's life. But if you remember earlier on in the film, Doctor Strange looked at over 14 million different futures, and only one of them were the Avengers successful. Doctor Strange knows something. He knows that Tony Stark is instrumental in saving the world, nay, the universe. Which makes you wonder why he didn't tell everyone else the plan. When he says there's one outcome in which we're successful, they should have said, well, tell us how it happens. But it doesn't make for a good movie, it's that simple, I suppose. They nearly defeat Thanos as well. Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Star-Lord, Mantis, Drax, Nebula, they all subdue Thanos. It's only when Star-Lord realizes that Gamora has died that he blows it for everyone. And it's another thing that makes you wonder, once they all have him subdued, why didn't Doctor Strange just use the Time Stone to freeze time and take the gauntlet off Thanos then? Because then you wouldn't have had one of the most shocking endings in all of superhero movie history. And I think it's safe to say that all comic book fans knew exactly what was coming. We were heading towards the Thanos finger snap. Except in the movie, the screen didn't turn to black, it turned to white. What a twist! It was incredibly distressing to see so many heroes just disintegrate into nothingness. Particularly Spider-Man. He's just a child. It really hits home as to what is happening. Thanos had said earlier in the movie that his plan was to kill 50% of the sentient beings in the known universe. And he said this would be done at random, with rich and poor alike. It turns out he also meant adults and children alike as well, which makes his win all the more horrifying. And I think Tom Holland has taken David Tennant's mantle on who can deliver the line, "I don't want to go," in the most upsetting manner.
I don't want to go.
The obvious thing to think about is that in the next movie, someone else is going to put on the gauntlet and put things right. Spider-Man and Black Panther have only just started their franchises, so it's not like they're going to never be seen again. The theme for this movie, and possibly the theme for the second one, is that we don't trade lives. Vision says we don't trade lives, Captain. Captain America says to Vision we don't trade lives. Thanos' mantra seems to be trade 50% of the universe so that the other 50% may live. It's all about trading lives, which means someone in the second movie is going to perhaps trade their life to bring everyone back. Captain America, Tony Stark, maybe both. But does that mean everyone could come back? It seems that I and a lot of other people agree that those who died outside of the finger snap will not be returning. So that means no more Heimdall, no more Loki, no more Gamora, and no more Vision. But we've still yet to see an appearance from Hawkeye, we've still yet to see an appearance of Ant-Man and the Wasp. We've got their movie later on, but what does this mean for their movie? Is it going to be set during the events of Infinity War? Is it going to be set after? My guess with Ant-Man and the Wasp is that it'll be a largely self-contained standalone movie. It'll be in the mid-credit and post-credit stings where we'll see something like Hope or Scott or even Hank Pym disintegrate in the Rapture, which will then lead to the introduction of these characters in Infinity War Part 2, or whatever it's called. I also think that Peter Dinklage will be back in the next one. After Thanos did the finger snap, the gauntlet looked fried. I mean, it looks like you can still use the stones individually, as Thanos used the Space Stone to get out of there, but I don't think you'd be able to use all stones at the same time. I think the gauntlet is too broken to do something like that again. So I expect a new glove has to be built, either at Thanos' command or at the command of the Avengers. Another possible theory is that all the remaining Avengers that we see now are all going to be dead in the next one, and Steve will be the last one left. And as he's superhuman, he is the only one strong enough that will be able to wield the gauntlet and put everyone back to normal. But in doing so, he will die using the gauntlet. That's my theory at least, but what do you think is coming next? What did you love? What did you hate about this movie? Comment with your thoughts below, and while you're down there, hit subscribe and like the video. Give it a share on Facebook and Twitter, and if you can, please donate to the coffee link also in the description. Thanks for watching my spoiler review of Infinity War. I'll see you again next time.